Hey everyone, let's do this very fast. I don't have a lot of time today. I need to go help some of the local Ukrainian refugees. They are looking for housing right now in my city, and I think I can help them out a little bit, but we'll see how it will go. Russia is taking Donbass, as we've heard, because last time we discussed about, and I explained to you the significance of this area and this area. This is where the power station was, and this was the village that was kind of preventing the encirclement of that power station. And now these two cities have been taken. This part was taken by the Russians. So now we can say, yes, Russia is officially taking over Donbass. Well, it actually isn't. We need to understand that all of these are smaller villages, and the Russian advancement tempo is pretty negligible, and it's only happening in some local areas. The bigger challenges, obviously, per Ukrainian tactic, is what's going to happen with the cities. They have been the strongholds for the Ukrainians, and they will continue to be. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen when the Russians are going to get to the bigger urbanized areas such as Bakhmut. So, what's the Russian potential of attacking in the east? Aren't they defeated by now? No, they're not. We still need to understand that Russian army is about almost two times more, have at least 2 times more firepower than Ukrainian army, despite all the support from the West and so on. And while the Russian equipment is pretty old, there's a lot of it. So it's still going to take some time to completely stop them, despite that Ukraine is doing pretty amazing job. Let's move to the Kherson area. So one of the most important thing that happened in Kherson area is that we got bridges destroyed. Yay! There was the strikes on the bridges have been happening for already some time, but the Antonov bridge was struck again this night. And now the damage seems significant, that we can say that there is no quick way to fix this bridge. So we can say that for all intents and purposes, this bridge is now out of commission. That's a big victory. Also, there was another strike, as far as I understood, during the night on this bridge, and also the railway bridge. Railway bridge was not used because it was kind of seen as dangerous, and it was also, as far as I understand, a little bit damaged when the Ukrainians were retreating from. But we know that it has not been used, but there has been rumors that there has been strike on this bridge as well. What does this mean? Well, this means basically with those bridges destroyed that this whole area now is very hard to navigate, right? Getting to here in the army column with heavy vehicles and so on is very, very problematic. So another thing we know that here is the dam on the river, but there is actually, I'll see if I can show you. So there is like this channel, maybe you can see, like there's a super small channel, and this super small channel actually kind of goes a little bit further, and there is actually a smaller bridge right after the dam, and it was struck also by the Ukrainians. It's not going to really be a big problem because the channel is quite small, but still it's preventing some of the faster reinforcements of Russians to this region. Let's quickly cover also the situation at Vysokopilya. But before that, if you like what I'm doing, you like to support this channel and support Ukraine, right now go into the comments, write a comment, like, subscribe, so this video gets more views, and then we get the message about the situation in Ukraine louder, and maybe we can help support Ukraine a little bit better. That's my first ever plugin. I hope it was not as terrible as I was having it in my head. But let's get back to the situation. So, big discussion was around whether Ukraine actually controls Olkhina or not. There was a lot of discussions in a pro-Russian space. There was some pro-Russian analysts that are saying, no, Olkhina is not taken. It's still a fighting territory. But we know now for sure that it has been taken by the Ukrainians, because there has been reports that Russians have been using significant artillery and helicopters to strike Olkhina village, which suggests only one thing, that there is no close quarter fighting, that it's mostly Ukrainians that are based in the village. So we know for sure that the situation that we described in Vysokopilya is still present. But we remember that there were reinforcements sent towards that direction. So I'm expecting that there is not enough Ukrainian forces in the area to push through it, and maybe it's not really the purpose. Ukraine has had some small gains around the area. Where was it? Yes, around this area, a couple of villages that were captured here, which is nice. So slowly but surely, Ukraine is preparing for the advancements towards to take Kherson Oblast. So we can see in the coming month or two how Ukraine will play it out. So we know now with the bridges destroyed, well, or damaged, there has been still by the rail lines, the Russian reinforcements are coming in, and a big question that's being discussed by a lot of the experts in the area are saying that one thing that the Russians might do is try to support the Kherson Oblast and try to just put more forces in there, but now it's problematic. And the other thing that they're suggesting is they can use railway to get basically the forces to this area, and instead of kind of protecting Kherson Oblast, they protect it by forcing a larger force around this area and then moving towards Zaporizhia. So to kind of prevent offensive on Kherson by starting your own offensive towards Zaporizhia. Again, it's not really clear whether or not they will have enough forces to support, or because this terrain is not favorable for the Russians. It's an open terrain. It's basically just steppes and fields. There is not a lot of places to hide. So any kind of big grouping of equipment or personnel will be quite easily dealt with more advanced artillery systems that Ukraine possess right now. So good idea, interesting one, but we'll see how it's going to play out. We also know that on the kind of coming out, so we know the situation is not advancing as fast as we know, as fast as we want, but I think it's good that it's not advancing. That means that the more time it takes, the more time Ukraine gets to get the weapons in, to reorganize, prepare new battle divisions, learn new equipment, and so on. And one of the happy news this week was that Germany is finally starting to supply MLRS systems that they were said will take until December to get the software updated, but now apparently they were able to. And I think that kind of notifies a big break in the German politics that, yes, maybe some more things needs to be done. And Poland is supplying tanks, and other countries are doing their job as well. What we need to understand is that Europe was a very peaceful place. We living in Europe know that, and we didn't expect the big continental war suddenly breaking out on our neighbor's doorstep. So it's very unclear how much of the actual military equipment was battle ready and even like able to fight in any kind of actual combat. So it's now kind of showed itself that we don't have a lot of supplies and stocks to supply Ukrainian military. So, but we see that slowly and surely we are delivering the weapons, and even Germany, that was criticized so much for being slow and sluggish, is now delivering it. And this is important because Russia is putting a lot of effort to build closer ties with Iran and some of the African countries, also trying to build some kind of that other perspective of Ukraine, like this, big bad Ukraine that doesn't allow grain to export, and obviously Iran saying, hey, we're sanction brothers, let's deal with this together. Sorry, just dry. And so Russia is really hoping for support from Iran, either by drones or supplying some plane parts they are now talking about. But this is tensioning the traditionally quite warm relationship between Russia and Israel. Why is Israel important? Because while there is not a lot of countries that were stockpiling and preparing for war and have a lot of stockpiles of different equipment and military power, Israel does. So if Israel will see that Russia is literally supporting Iran, one of the biggest adversaries for Israel, Russia will be perceived as a threat, and there is a big chance that Israel will join the sanctions and start supplying weaponry to Ukraine. This is a little bit of speculation, so take it with a huge grain of salt, but this is a situation we should be following up on and seeing whether or not Israel will join this war effort and support Ukraine in liberation of its territories. Again, thank you so much for watching this. See you next time, and I'm really hopeful that I will be able to release the big video about Russia this week. Ukraine's gonna win.